Welcome to the Green Album by Teeny Tiny Stevies. We're here to talk about each song, the ideas behind them, and the writing and recording process. So let's go.
Let's go. All right, I'm Byll, that's Beth, and this is Compost.
An earworm, an absolute earworm. It's not just us that says it, it's everybody who hears it.
Pardon the pun, worm. It's an
Worm,
earworm.
it's all about worms.
Yep,
It's all about composting your worm farms at home. I would like to announce that I've only just recently started my own worm farm at home. I have been doing other composting of other sorts over recent years, but this is my first worm farm. And yeah, look, hey, I'll admit, it's as gross as it sounds. But it's also genuinely exciting and fascinating to see how this system works. And when it is working, it's amazing. The food scraps just disappear, literally disappear.
Wow.
When you put them into the compost, the worms eat them, and then next week you put more in.
Yeah. It is totally incredible. I compost at home. I've got a compost in my garden, my little garden bed. I've got one of those ones that, gosh, I've forgotten what it's called. I think it's called a sub pod or something. It sort of goes into the ground. It's almost essentially like a plastic crate. And I probably could have bought one of them, actually, made a lid. I'll probably do that next time. There's sort of holes, in the sides, and so worms and things can go in and out of the side of the.
That's really it's a cool idea.
It is a cool idea. Very cool idea.
See, all these cool ideas that like exceptional
human beings came up with.
Clever people are coming up with.
Yes, exactly. I like what we had. Not that we've spoken about the song yet, but on this topic, I like what you've sort of started picking up on there. In that, I think what I want to make common, right, is that you can be into composting and look like you or me. Or that sounds like a weird thing to say, but you could be into composting and not enjoy.
You can think it's gross.
Well,
it'd be gross.
you can be into composting, you can compost and not want to touch the worms. That's okay.
Absolutely.
That is okay.
And I would say that we want to leave the worms, not touch them. Just leave them, let them do their thing.
It's also okay to want to touch the worms. That's fine.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is not everyone has to be like Costa and stick his hand right into a compost bin, pick it up and go, look at this. Isn't it amazing? Like, that's good for him, not good for me. But we can both compost, That's what I want to normalise because researching this song was really, really fascinating, researching this topic, because just like the song says, if everybody composted, like if all households composted, it really would make a huge change. Yeah. I think sometimes with climate change and everything, you can feel like, well, what can I do? I'm just like one little guy. There's, you can go on and on about, there's just giant companies and corporations doing all this and blah, blah, blah. Even if I do my little things, it's not going to make a difference. Wrong. If we all composted, that would actually really shift things. And it's this one thing, just like the song says, it's this one thing that's sort of within our control as individuals. Yeah. So, and it's super easy. It takes like a little bit of organisation to get set up. But then once you're set up, it's one of those things that's like, you go, why did I not do that sooner?
It's so true. Yeah,
this is so easy.
Yeah.
And it's, again, just like the song says, it's like magic.
It is like magic.
It's like magic. Yeah. And that's kind of amazing. And it makes you think as well. Then you're like, okay, so these things, once I've used them, can go back into the ground and be part of the cycle of life and whatever can go back into the ground, whatever's natural can go back into the ground. And it really does make you think about all the things that can't go back into the ground. You just naturally start thinking about that. And then you probably just naturally start engaging less with things that can't go back into the ground, or you at least really think them through,
Or you just hesitate and question first.
Yeah.
Whether you really need that thing.
Yeah, because I'm going to have this for, or I'm going to have to put it in the rubbish bin and know where it's going. Oh my God, to the giant landfill thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a frightening thought. I would like to acknowledge your big chesty voice that showcases on this song. We wrote this song and I did try singing the chorus of this song and it sounded a bit more like an opera song. This is a song about compost. So we really needed some vocal grit with this one. So so Byll really features heavily in this song, which is excellent.
It was a good time, a very good time doing this song. I always find it fascinating to go back and look at our reference songs in case anyone's interested. So our reference songs for this track before we went into the studio, or before we got into the rehearsal studio, was Feel It Still by Portugal the Man. A great tune, isn't it?
Oh, great tune.
Great tune.
Are you going to be mentioning the reference tracks for all of these
No,
songs?
no, I just thought these ones were good. And Happy by Pharrell. That was another one we put down. Yeah. I just think when we've got cool reference tracks, it's worth mentioning them. This is for some of these songs as well. We had some excellent people lend us a hand by giving us their expert advice. So I'd just like to mention Composting Kate. You can find her on Instagram, probably on TikTok as well. I think she's from the Bega area in Australia. She has a book, and I just DM'd her. I was like, "Hey, Composting Kate, we're doing a song on composting. Would I be able to send you the lyrics? And would you mind just reading them and telling me if the science is right?" Yeah. And she obliged. She was very good to us by doing that, and even made a couple of shock horror suggestions, which was good in the end, actually. I think, which brings me to my next note, which I think we had. The lyric that we had was, "You are the king of your garbage bins." And she said one of her notes was, which actually wasn't on the science of composting, so I was a bit like, "Kate, stay in your lane." But she said, "I think I'd make that a gender neutral reference, but not being the king of it." And I thought, that's a really interesting idea. And then I was just trying to think of what that could be. And of course, we came up with boss.
And what's that a reference to?
What's that a reference to? And then here we are referencing ourselves. So,
again.
We have a song for anyone who doesn't know called Boss of My Own Body, which is a big song of ours. It's a hit.
Another hit.
Another hit. And so in Compost, we say you're also the boss of your garbage bins.
Right. And my kids love that bit, actually.
Yeah.
It's funny, all these little bits that we sort of put in later in the recording process during the backing vocal stage, which is definitely the last stage of recording.
Yes.
They're always the most memorable parts, usually.
So good.
That kids just go, "Ha, that bit, that's my favourite bit."
Yes.
Also, my kids' other favourite bit in this song is how it ends. And every time we listen to it in the car and I look in the rearview mirror, they're always laughing at the end of it.
Which bit? Like
it's when your voice gets real growly.
Right. And that BV at the end that's like, oh my gosh, we had some funny backing vocals on this whole album. Wow. So that is Compost. A banger, an absolute banger.